ladies. Welcome to another episode of the Revitalized Womanhood podcast, my Friday to the core episode. Just me, with just me. And I don't know if you noticed the title of this episode, and actually, maybe Mandy will change it. I don't know. I just titled it, My Worst Nightmare, and it was all because of burnout. That's what we're calling it. No, Mandy, if you think of something better, more catchy, you can go ahead and change it. So my family and I just returned home from a 10-day cruise. Was really amazing. We were there with 38, I believe. 38 was the final number. It's basically all of Rick's side of the family. His mom and dad paid for every single one of us, all of their kids, their grandkids, and their new great-grandkids to go on this cruise together. So we pretty much came home from traveling to make this trip happen, because what an amazing thing for them to do this for us. So we go to California. I'm just setting up a scene. I'm setting up the scene for my worst nightmare. And I'm not just talking about something that's over dramatizing my worst nightmare. No, I'm talking about the absolute scariest moment in a mother's life, in a parent's life, when you are suffocating on the biggest fear you will ever have, right? Anyway, so not dramatizing the title. This actually happened. Hopefully I can remain calm through explaining what happened and talking about it, but I just want to share this story specifically because of my platform that I feel so passionate about, and that's women getting helping themselves to eliminate burnout, overwhelm, overscheduling, exhaustion, anxiety, all of these things that are associated with and come along with motherhood, right? I feel heavy. My chest feels heavy even talking about this. So I'm going to read some things that I wrote earlier today. There are so many statistics that relate to the impact of maternal burnout on parenting, right? Particularly in relation to the well-being and safety of our babies and toddlers. Research from the National Center for Biotechnology Information, that's a big one, highlights that parental burnout can lead to a state of emotional and physical depletion due to heightened stress, potentially impacting the ability of parents to provide a safe and nurturing environment for their young children. Motherly's 2021 State of Motherhood survey revealed that 93% of mothers reported feeling burned out, emphasizing the widespread nature of this issue. This aligns with the sentiment that many mothers are indeed juggling overwhelming schedules and feeling the weight of burnout. It is crucial to recognize the signs of burnout and prioritize strategies for self-care and support, not only for the well-being of us as mothers, but also for the holistic health of our families, as the health and safety of our whole families. Okay. So what happened? What happened to create my worst nightmare? The worst moment of my life thus far. To this day, Rick and myself, both the worst moment of our life, the worst 45 minutes we've ever had in our entire lives. Well, okay, so we just got back from this cruise. Amazing. Yes, it was wonderful. I don't know how to explain this situation, this part of it. So we are a travel family, right? You all know that we are a travel family. When we do that, I know that there are a lot of misconceptions. There are a lot of misconceptions or maybe assumptions that people have in relation to families when they're traveling around the world. So And because we've heard these things, we've heard people be very worried about us, especially when they see the news, something's happened in that city or one of the countries that we're going to be visiting. So of course, naturally, they become really nervous and scared about these things. Like my mother-in-law has told us before that she gets very nervous when we've told her that we leave Castle, wherever we are, whatever stay we're in, whatever country, that we will leave Castle with Hayes and Locke, his little brothers, to watch them, and we'll go out and have dinner. Well, she didn't realize, maybe we didn't do our part to explain to her, that we have never left our kids more than, say, if we were at a stay, we walked next door to a restaurant, we walked next door, the pub was down below us in the hotel, or you know what I mean? We've never gone more than, not even just walking distance, but like 50 feet, 100 feet from our children, right? So we had to explain to her that we are a very controlled, we keep control, we maintain control. If we are on the move, I always have a stroller, always. 100%, I believe that you either need a baby carrier or a stroller. Your children need to be on lockdown, okay? The little babies, right? Babies and toddlers. Locke is 3 and he's a runner. So it's more stressful for me to have him walking than just have him in the stroller. I'd rather have him in the stroller where I know exactly where he is. I don't have to stress and worry about, did someone grab him? Did he run off? Like, why would I be stressed? Why would I want to be stressed about those things? The one time we couldn't have a carrier or a stroller was on a hike we did in Croatia, and we put a little like those basically human leashes on him. It's a cute little dinosaur backpack, and they have a leash, which are becoming way more popular now than they used to be. Thank goodness, because before, and there was actually an episode of Modern Family where they make fun of this, where they do, the dads have Lily, the daughter, and they put her on a leash, one of these backpacks at Disneyland. And they joke about the fact that people were like looking at them like they were walking their dog, but it was their child, right? So yes, we know that those are the thoughts, but guess what? I am a travel mama, and I am going to maintain as much peace and control over my kids. Everything I can do to control my situation, I'm going to do it. So anyway, so that being said, this cruise was nothing like I have ever experienced before. I was completely out of my element. This was like the cruises we normally do. It's usually retired people. Honestly, like my kids, the last cruise we just did, the 17-day cruise across the Atlantic, honestly, there was quite a few babies. There was quite a few babies in Locke's kids club, probably but quite a few. I mean, like maybe 15. So that's quite a few. And Hayes had probably like 6 kids his age. Castle, there was 3. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. So my kids are in kids club or with us. That's it. They are never anywhere else. They are never on the ship by themselves. They are either in kids club or with us. So again, we keep control over every scenario we possibly can. So this cruise, okay, if you've ever done a Mexican cruise out of California, I think there was at least, at one time I counted when I went to put Locke in kids club, I counted there were 50 name tags in his age group, which would be the 2 to 5, right? 50 on the board. That doesn't count how many kids are in the kids club already with their tags on. And then Hayes's group, which would be the 6 to 9, whatever, 6 to 10, whatever. Same thing, at least minimum 50, at least name tags. And then Castle said on his last day at the teenager club, I didn't go in there, I just walked him to it, but he said had to have been like 60 kids in there. So this cruise was packed. I have never, ever been on a cruise this busy in my life. Well, maybe once when I was 21 years old, and it was fun and it was great that way because it was just me and Rick and it was awesome. But so that's the scene. So getting onto the ship, luckily, my mother-in-law, beautiful genius woman, she booked us the night before. We stayed on the Queen Mary, which is the ship that's docked right there next to where the cruise ships pull in Long Beach. And she reserved us a room the night before. So honestly, our travels to get from that night to the cruise was just like basically walking over, right? We just had to go park the car and walk onto the ship. It was beautiful. Now, I know that my in-laws don't pack light like we do. We know to pack light. We are trained. That's a great way of saying that. We are trained to pack very light. So I knew our luggage. We had my one big backpack that's probably like, I don't know, 40 pounds. And then I had a diaper bag and just like a snack bag, the bag that you throw all the crap in that's loose. And then each of my kids had a backpack, and Rick had a backpack. So, and a rolling luggage. So I already knew that we were dealing with that amount, and that's not much, but my in-laws, I know that they pack heavier. So I think they had 3 large suitcases for themselves. So I didn't want to bring the stroller. I thought to myself, he's 3, we're just getting on the ship. We won't need a stroller. Even when we get off the ship in Mexico, he can walk with us. It won't be a big deal. So I'm just not going to bring the stroller. Well, so let's set up the scene. This is a lot of setting up. I'm sorry. So, okay, we're walking from the car to the ship. And like I said, no stroller. So I have my 3-year-old that I have to keep control of. He's a runner. He is not scared of anything. He's no stranger danger. He loves everyone. He thinks everyone loves him. He is will run. He does not listen to me when I say, come here. He's like, bye, forget you. I'm going to go have fun. So one of us has to hold him at all times. So I've got, again, like I said, a 40-pound backpack on my back, and I've got a heavy diaper bag and laptop in my one arm, and then another bag in my other arm, which normally I have the stroller for. Duh, Gina. Like, I'm such a rookie. That was such a big mistake. Usually I have the stroller, then I could put all the junk in the stroller and the baby's locked in. Easy peasy. Never again. I will never again make that mistake ever again. So we had to walk down 4 flights of stairs to get to the ground floor of the parking garage because the elevators were just a nightmare. And then we forgot to check our luggage at the luggage check, which was fine. I thought, I'm strong. Like, I go to the gym every day so that I can have a body that I can keep up with my kids and carry my kids and be able to do these kinds of active things, right? So no big deal. Rick's luggage is rolling. I've got mine on my back. I'm fine. Well, it's warm. It's a warm day. It's not hot. It's warm. It's humid. It's, I've got a sweatshirt on, carrying all the bags, and we had to wait in all of these lines. So we're waiting, and imagine the longest security lines ever trying to get to the plane, right? And we're waiting in all these lines. And at one point, after we'd finally gotten through the checkpoints and security, and we were walking towards the ship now, finally, not even to the ship, walking towards the ship. And I looked at Rick at the last checkpoint, and I had tears in my eyes. Honestly, it was a really, really weird moment for me when I experienced physical exhaustion. And my mind was saying, why are you exhausted? This is not anything. You should be more fit than this. You train for this. Like, why? What are you doing? And this is one of those moments that I can relate back when I had my C-section and my body could not do what my mind said that it could do. My mind was saying, you can do a sit-up. You can do a crunch. What is wrong with you? But my body was saying, I absolutely cannot do that. What are you talking about? No way in heck can I do this. So that same thing happened. I looked at Rick and I'm like, he's like, why are you ornery? And I'm like, I'm like almost in tears. And I'm like, I'm physically can't do this. I can't. My body is exhausted. I am about to fall over from the weight of everything I'm carrying and trying to keep the baby under control. And he's helping and the kids are helping. I'm not saying that this is all on me, but this is how I'm feeling. So my body's exhausted. And anyway, so we get into the ship, get to sit down finally. And okay, great. No big deal. So my little boys, they're cute cousins. They have 3 little cute cousins that are their exact same age, my 2 big boys. And so they are so excited to see them. And one of them is 14, Castle is 12. They're both very mature and we trust them. And the one that's actually 12, also 12, right? Anyway, he is like the best. Like we trust the 3 big boys so much. And then our 2 youngers, the 2 9-year-olds they're tough, but they stay with their brothers fine. So we trust them. So we kind of, the parents of the other boys, right? My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, we're kind of like, what do we do here? Do we let them just run around the ship? They want to go play. Do we trust that? And we're kind of like, for us, this is not a normal thing. It's not. But they've also never had their little friends, their little cousins on a cruise with them. So this is just it's new waters, right? So we're like, okay, yeah, go have fun. Meet you at the room. First mistake, did not put anything into I'm sure we said check in, but we did not say, okay, you check in every half hour, you do this, that, and the other, whatever. So we get back into our room, we get everything settled, we get checked in. Like this is earlier in the afternoon. So it's probably at lunch later in the day. And I'm talking to my sister-in-law and she's like, I am so stressed out. This is stressing me out so much. Our kids running everywhere and I have no idea where my kids are. And they don't do much of this traveling. I mean, they travel a little bit together, but it's same kinds of things. Like they have control over their kids. They know exactly where they are. It's not like they've just been let loose on this huge cruise ship and we have no idea where they are. And we have no way of contacting them either. There's no phones. Like if you're in different places, if you're not just sitting in your cabin, you have no way to contact each other, right? Everybody should have walkie-talkies when they go on a cruise. Note to self, everybody should have walkie-talkies. The kids club gave me a phone because I have a 3-year-old. So anybody 3 and under got a phone. It was the best thing ever. So then after I got that, my kids knew they could get a hold of me anytime. But I digress. Okay. So this is a lot of setup, you guys. I know we're getting to it. Well, so later that night, it's time to put the kids in kids club. So, did I skip ahead? Anyway, I went to put the boys in kids club and then came back to the room and I looked at Rick and I said, where is Locke? And he looked at me and before I said, where is Locke? I already panicked. I had already had I looked around the room, split second of where's my child? Like I already had my own internal panic and my mind, the instant amount of adrenaline and fear that surged through my body. I said, where is Locke? And Rick says, he went with you. And I said, no, he didn't. He didn't go with me. What are you talking about? I had Hayes and Castle. He did not go with me. Instantly, of course, we react exactly how you would think. Rick jumps up. We both start running up and down the hallways, start telling the maids we can't find our 3-year-old. We don't know where he is. Start looking for this 3-year-old. All the things you can think of. Nobody's responding the way we think they should. We're just like panicked. We're in this completely panicked mode, right? Rick starts telling anybody he walks by, like all of his family members, we don't know where Locke is. Start looking for Locke. I go run and I pass Castle, who was watching a movie at the time. And I yelled to Castle, I can't find Locke. Locke's missing. Come help. So Castle's freaking out. So we've got all of these people looking for Locke, freaking out. And I go up to guest services. They call security. And as I'm standing there waiting, seconds feel like, as a dispatcher, I know this. Seconds feel like minutes. They feel like eternities. When you have an emergency, 2 seconds feels like 10 minutes. And it is so true. And I'm standing there and I'm telling the front desk, we've got a missing child. And I'm like, why aren't alarms going off? Why aren't you doing more? And she says, security's coming. So I'm standing there sobbing and trying not to look like a complete lunatic to all of these people in line. But at the same time, who cares? And security walks up to me and he stops me and looks me in the eye and like, breathe. Okay. He knows that I'm like, and he says, okay, first we need to check kids club. And instantly my mind clears and I'm like, I took him to kids club. Oh my gosh. I am the dumbest woman in the world. I am so stupid. I took my 3-year-old to kids club. and dropped him off. I took him 25 minutes ago to Kids Club. Well, 45 now. I took him 45 minutes ago to Kids Club and dropped him off. And it was like all of a sudden, clear as day. My mind was just clear as day. I took him to Kids Club and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. Okay. Right. Oh, thank the Lord. He's safe, at least, period. He's safe. But now all I can feel is embarrassed. Like, what just happened to me? I am mortified. I did not know where my child was, and I just had put him there. He says to me, the security guard looks at me and he says, who put him in Kids Club? And I said, me. And honestly, I could die of the mortification of how embarrassing that statement was. And he was, bless his heart, he was not treating me like an idiot. He should have been. But bless his heart, he says, okay, let's go check Kids Club and make sure. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I know he's there. It's fine. But he's like, no, we got to go check. And I'm like, no, I got to go tell my husband. He's freaking out. But anyway, so we go check Kids Club. Of course, there he is. Scariest moment, 45 minutes of my life. And it was so completely unnecessary. I put my husband and how many of my family members in this state of panic and worst moment of our life, worst thing we've ever experienced, thinking that our son could be not just lost, but could be dead, could have fallen off the ship, right? I was mortified. And then I started thinking, not only I'm mortified that this happened, am I losing my mind? Like, that's been something that I joke with Rick about, but don't really joke because Alzheimer's is in my family. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, I have these moments of where I completely don't think about something. And he's like, how could you forget that? But obviously nothing like this. And I say, I swear to you, Rick, I swear I have early onset Alzheimer's. I swear it's happening. I swear I feel this way. And I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. And so along with embarrassment, but also at the same time thinking, am I losing my mind? I'm 40. I'm going to be 42 years old this year and I'm going to lose my mind and I'm not going to be able to raise my family, right? So holy crap, you can't even imagine the internal turmoil that's going on in me. And so we go and tell everybody, finally let everyone know that he's safe and that I am just a complete idiot. And so we go to bed that night, get our kids out of Kids Club immediately, obviously, and lock them all in our room. Went to bed without dinner. We couldn't even have eaten. I was so sick. Rick was so upset. I was so upset. We were so sick. And the next day, I had not even thought about it this way. My brother-in-law, bless him for saying this, put it in perspective because I was so embarrassed. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I put everyone through this. I don't know what happened. I kept saying to the security, I was a dispatcher for 6 years. Like, I know how to control a panic. I know, like, this doesn't happen to me. We're a traveling family. This doesn't happen. Like, this has never happened before. He obviously thinks I'm a lunatic, but I know this has never happened. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. And it was absolutely one of those situations where you think to yourself, when you hear the story, when you're hearing this story now, you think that would never happen to me. But my brother-in-law put it in perspective and he said, I don't judge anything. I don't judge this. I don't judge you. I don't judge moms who accidentally leave their kids in cars or fall asleep and their kids wander outside and drown in the pool. He said, those are obviously not intentional moments. Those are obviously not, as a mother, I obviously did not think to myself, I'm going to forget that I left my kid in kids club, and I'm going to worry and panic my entire family and make them feel as stressed as they've ever felt in their life for the next 45 minutes. You know, moms don't think to themselves, I'm going to forget my child in the car and they're going to die from heat exposure, right? We don't think this way. Moms don't lay their babies down on a bed on their stomachs and walk away and they suffocate. They don't do that on purpose. These are not things but they are exactly things that happen when you are under so much stress and overwhelm that you are in burnout mode. You are absolutely in burnout. So, that's the story. Anyway, I am going to make it my mission. I have been making it my mission. I feel like this platform for burnout has been with me since I started. Maybe not exactly since I started, but it's become a lot more prevalent and a lot more important to me. And I can tell you that I used to think of burnout as a mother of 8 kids that has them all day long, and she has way too much on her plate, right? So it's consistently every single day stress and chaos and busy and right, or even less kids and they have a busy schedule at work and they're being pulled in too many places. But it's I've always thought of it as something that's over an extended amount of time. Like these kinds of situations have had to have been happening over an extended amount of time. I don't feel like that was my case. I feel like when I am at home or when we travel ourselves as a family, I have complete control. I control my situations. I control my schedule. I control my surroundings. On this very specific day, certain things happened to push my body and my brain to a point of breaking where I blacked out and forgot that I put my child into kids club. So I hope that you're not listening to this thinking, Gina, you are such an idiot. That would never happen to me, because I probably used to think that. I probably used to feel the exact same way. And never in a bazillion, million, trillion years would I have ever thought that would happen to me. And it did. And it was horrifying. And I lived my worst nightmare like it was actually happening. Not that my baby was in kids club, that my baby was somewhere on a ship with 6,000 other people and was possibly going over the rail into the ocean. So let this just sink in as please be mindful. Please be mindful about your everyday life and what goes on in it and all of the chaos. Sometimes chaos is beautiful and it shakes up things and gets us out of our comfort zones. I get that, but being mindful of a lack of peace in your life is imperative for health and happiness. And it was a horrifying reminder to me of what can happen, of not even the worst case scenario. Thank God. Not even the worst case scenario, but a horrifying experience nonetheless. I will leave you with my Instagram post today, and it said, "Motherhood is a whirlwind. There is no arguing the chaos that comes along with being a mom. But when the chaos goes on for too long without any kind of rest, the dangers of burnout become reality. It's essential to recognize the signs of maternal burnout, from the weight of exhaustion to the ache of feeling emotionally drained. As moms, we often put everyone else's needs before our own, but what happens when the well runs dry? The symptoms may manifest as extreme fatigue, moments of self-doubt, and even flashes of frustration, or for me, blackout. But here's the powerful truth. By identifying these signs, we pave the way for healing and resilience. It's not about striving for perfection. It's about nurturing ourselves so we can continue to nurture our loved ones. It's necessary to prioritize self-care, support, and restoration. Because when we fill our cup, we're better equipped to pour love, strength, and joy into the adventure called motherhood. Thank you so much for joining me again for another episode of the Revitalized Womanhood podcast. And please, if you feel strongly about the messaging that I'm pushing and my platform, please share this with all of the amazing women in your life. Even if you don't like anything else I say about anything else on the podcast, this one should hit home. This one should be one that we share with every woman, every mom, every parent in our lives, because it is true. And I am now part of the community that can empathize with anybody who has felt this way before. So thank you again for joining me, and we'll see you next week.